Hi everyone, I'm here with your 621 lesson, What If I Multiply, Multiplication and Dilation. Remember that when an object is translated, rotated, or reflected, it stays the same size and shape even though it moves. For this reason, these types of movements are called rigid transformations. In this lesson, you will explore a new transformation that changes how the object looks. As you work today, ask these questions with your team. What parts of the shape are changing? What parts stay the same? Problem 642. When all the x or y coordinates at each vertex of a shape are changed by adding or subtracting in the same numbers, the shape slides to a new position on the coordinate graph. You learned in lesson 613 that when one of the coordinates of the vertices, either the x or y coordinate, is multiplied by -1, the shape is reflected over the y or x axis respectively. How do you think the shape will change when both the x and y coordinates are multiplied by some number? Use the directions below to help you answer this question. A. Plot the following points on graph paper: 2, 1, 3, 1, 5, 5, 2, 5. Connect the points to make a quadrilateral. B. Without graphing, predict how you think the figure would change if the x and y coordinates were multiplied by 2 and then plotted. C. Test your prediction by doubling the coordinates from part A and plotting them on your graph paper. Was your prediction correct? D. With your team members, look at the figure you just graphed. Transforming a graph shape by multiplying each coordinate by the same number is called a dilation. With your team, discuss how the figure compares to the original. Be specific about changes in side length and area. So, going back over 642, you are going to answer, you're going to do part A, then you're going to do part B. Make sure you write your prediction here, and then you're going to finish by testing your prediction and answering this last question. So 642, you were doing the whole problem together, so go ahead and pause the video and do that problem right now. If you're back with me, you have finished problem 642, so we're going to go on to 643 now. We are going to save 642 to talk about in class. 643 says investigating dilations. The students in Miss Stanley's class were studying what happens to the graph of a shape when both coordinates are multiplied by the same number. They came up with these questions. What happens when each coordinate is multiplied by 1/2? What changes when the coordinates are multiplied by 1? What happens when both of the coordinates are multiplied by -1? What happens when the coordinates are multiplied by -2? Explore this problem using the 643 Student E-Tool. Click on the lower right corner of the graph to view in full screen mode. Okay, so we're not actually going to use the E-Tool. You are going to be graphing this. A, use your shape at right to investigate the questions above. Use graph paper to make the dilation. So you're going to copy down this shape on your graph paper, and then you are going to do each of these dilations. I recommend doing each of these in a different color and putting a little key over here so you know which one is which. Part B says, how did the figure change in each of the investigations? Compare the side lengths, the angles, and the line relationships. Explain what your team learned about the 3 questions you investigated. So, again, you're going to graph this on graph paper. You are then going to do what happens right here. Each time, I recommend using a different color. So if you want to make this red, put a little red here. So every time that you're multiplied by 1/2, you're showing that in red. So you can keep it nice, neat, and organized. You're going to finish with problem 643, and again, we are going to save it and talk about it in class. 642 and 643 is what you were completing in lesson 621. If you have any questions, please email us. Make sure you upload pictures when you are done.